to all those avid travelers, filmmakers, and also photographers, this is the episode for you, because I'm gonna show you and tell you why I'm using the system I have in this particular trip in Hong Kong. Definitely needed that. Well, yes, today's video is about the perfect travel camera system, at least for me. Well, you know that I'm a micro four third guy, but I also have APS-C and full frame cameras. And why do I consistently recommending people to use micro four third, especially for those who travel and move a lot? Well, we all know the micro four third strength. Whether you agree or not, I still believe that the system weight and system size is still the lightest and the smallest, and this is the key for anyone who travel a lot. So this time I'm only spending 10 days in Hong Kong, and within this 10 days I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm going around Hong Kong doing a lot of filming and a lot of testing for a lot of equipments, and I'm actually going to travel within different parts of Hong Kong, and also going to travel to Lantau Island and Macau. So there is just a lot of stuff to do, so I don't have enough time to really dig into a lot of stuff, because otherwise I would produce a travel series for you guys to watch. And but hopefully I'm going to fill in a lot of B-roll so you can see bits of it. And but yeah, it's been a fun trip for me. But anyway, let's go back to the micro four third thing. And I personally took the f4 Pro Zoom series from Olympus, because they are pro optics, they're f4 constant aperture. The three Trinity that I have is the 8-25 f4 Pro, the 12-45 f4 Pro, and the 40-150 f4 Pro. So these three lenses will give you an 8-150 range, and that's equivalent for full frame between 16 to 300 millimeters. So you tell me, can you cover everything within this range? I personally think you can, because this is just nuts. 8 to 150 millimeters, it's massive. This sort of thing will cover from wide angle cityscape shots to like really punching close-up detail shots that you can get. And with the 150 in particular, I shot with the 40-150 f4 almost 60-70% of the time in this trip for all the B-rolls, because I love the compression of it, especially when you're punching, and the reach I can gain from it is just insane. And the thing is, I could have taken it 2.8, but in reality, when you do filming and things like that for B-rolls, and even for some photography, you really don't need to have the 2.8. And with this fantastic IBIS in the camera already, I don't really think the 2.8 will give me any advantage or anything extra that I would gain. So that's why I choose the f4 Pro series zooms instead of the 2.8 that I already have. Right, okay, let's talk a little bit about system size. I know there are a lot of arguments lately about full frames are quite small nowadays, and that is pretty true. Some of the smallest full frame cameras are smaller than the biggest micro four third cameras. But then again, you're not comparing to the smaller micro four third cameras, just like the OM5 or the EM10 series. These are tiny cameras, and really, the OM5, I think, it struck the balance of the features, performance, and size and weight, because it is lightweight, it is small, and it's still feature rich. I love the OM5 because it now does continuous video recording without having to chop it in 30 minutes, and also the file size are now unlimited, so that is pretty nice. And but yeah, that besides the point. The whole system, together with the 21.4 that I also have in this trip, but all the other Trinity f4 Pro Zoom series, together all in, everything together is about, I don't know, 1.3, 1.4 kilograms. And that is very lightweight. Try to do the same in full frame. I don't think you can. Try to get a full frame with f4 Pro Zoom series, 3 of them, and maybe perhaps a 40 millimeters or 50 millimeters 1.4. Try that. I don't think you can get near as lightweight as that. Finish the bottle. Okay. Now, remember guys, recycling. And if you can, keep the place tidy. We all should play the part. Look how tidy this place is. Apart from the obvious, some of the things that I haven't told you about is that my own personal experience about carrying heavy gear is that I often have to sit down and rest, simply because it's quite heavy. Even in my younger days, I'm telling you. And but these days, because of the Micro Four Thirds, I can really walk a lot longer and rest less, and that's good, you know, as you really want to maximize your time when you're traveling, right? And then again, because of the lighter weight, you know, you don't really need a big bag either. You know, everything can be quite small, kept to minimum, and that means you can do more stuff. You know, if you're traveling a family, for instance, you have extra hand or just extra capacity, extra strength to carry more for your family. And tell you, you know, being a dad, you know, especially when my kid was younger, this is valuable, you know, like carrying the nappies, the milk, the food, the extra clothes, you know, like I wouldn't be able to do any photography or anything like that if it wasn't because of the Micro Four Thirds system. Right, where am I? Right, this is brand new. This is brand new. This is the Palace Academy. Yes, this is Palace Academy. Yeah, it's an interesting place. This is brand new. I've never seen this before. Last time I came here, I don't believe that this was even here. So 4 years on, everything's changed again. Another icon here. But anyway, just to wrap things up a little. So personally, I still think Micro Four Thirds is still one of the smallest and cheapest system on the market right now. I'm not even talking about value for money yet, because it is actually the cheapest, and also performance per pound. Right, let's put it that way. There are small cameras in full frame, sure. There are small lenses in full frame, sure. But there are also small lenses in Micro Four Thirds, so just like the 1.8 primes from Olympus, the 1.7 primes from Panasonic, and like the F4 Pro Zoom series that I demonstrated in this video. They are tiny, they are small. You can't get smaller than any of this stuff. So like, you know, if you go for the equivalent in full frame, you go for 1.8 prime in full frame, APS-C, or maybe even some of the F4 Pro Zooms in my full frames, they are bigger, they are double the size. Yes, they're small in full frame terms, but they're still double the size from the Micro Four Thirds. Yeah, so like if you want the ultimate travel companion that would basically not hurt your back or shoulder, this is it. This is it. I'm not suggesting, you know, in this video that trying to persuade you to get the OM5 or any of the lenses I mentioned, but I just want to highlight to you that no matter how you look at it, Micro Four Thirds is still the smallest. I don't think you can argue with that. You know, tell me, you know, what can you get equivalent for that size? And perhaps price as well. Like, don't forget that I also have full frame. I also have APS-C, and so I'm not trying to, you know, argue or debate in this particular point. I use full frame for some certain situations. I use APS-C for other things, but Micro Four Thirds is still my travel companion, as I can show you in this particular trip in Hong Kong this time. Yes, they are capable, they're fun to use, and more importantly, makes you happy. That's most important thing, right? Anyway, and let me know in the comment section below what you think about what I said, whether you agree with me about Micro Four Thirds or not. I would like to hear from you. So you know what to do now. Thumb if you like this video, and sub if you want to stay in touch with all things photography, filmmaking, and of course, Micro Four Thirds. Peace. Whoosh. Okay, right, I'm right here, right by the Star Ferry Pier. You know, this is one of the iconic places in Hong Kong. Whenever you come to Hong Kong, you've got to see this, and you got to get on one of the ferries to the other side of Hong Kong, because this is perhaps one of the oldest transportation in Hong Kong, apart from the Hong Kong tram, which is on the island itself, which I will probably take some shot of it later this week, just before I go home. But yeah, this place is fantastic. This is really, really cool. When you're here, you know, especially a day like this, you're gonna get on the ferry and smell the sea. You're gonna be really fun, enjoy every moment of it. So yeah, highly recommend it. So another thing I haven't really kind of mentioned just yet is the weatherproofness of OM5. I know I could have used the perhaps the EM10 Mark IV, which is also a fantastic option. I've done a vlog in Scotland when it first came out, and the link is up there. You haven't seen it already. And yeah, it's a beautiful camera as well. It's even lighter than OM5, but the IBIS is not as good, and critically, it's not weather sealed. And why do I need a weather sealed camera in this particular case? Is that well, when you're traveling, you want to maximize every single opportunity of it. And similar to back home, you know, if you're an enthusiast of photography and things like that, you sometimes will go out and take shots in the rain, right? And but when you're traveling, one thing you can't control is the weather. And it's not every day is like this. It's not sunny. You know, there are days that you will be like, you know, a little bit wet, a little bit windy, and a little bit dusty. So you really want a system that can basically give you the protection that needed to continue to operate, right? So the OM5 is weather sealed, together with all the pro lenses that I mentioned to you earlier, the 21-4, the 8-25, 12-45, 40-150 f4 Pro Zoom series. They're all weatherproof. So that means I can use any of these lenses to film, to shoot, without having to worry about raindrops, dust, anything like that. I can continue to go and shoot. That's the thing, right? You know, got to maximum everything you've got. And yeah, so that's basically it. Doesn't mean that you can't use any older cameras. Nope, doesn't mean that you can't. Like the EM5 Mark III, which is basically as good as the OM5, and apart from certain tracking capabilities, maybe the IBIS is just half a stop less than the OM5, but it's still as good as ever. So yeah, to me, I think any of these two cameras really is currently, I think it's the smallest and the lightest travel system you can get. But if you're a Micro Four Thirds guy, you already have some of the F4 Pro Zoom series, you're basically good to go. Yeah, you may not have the OM5. I'm not suggesting you have to buy the OM5, but if you do have the F4 series, it's already quite good. And if you are considering doing a lot of traveling, you are already in the Micro Four Thirds kind of ecosystem, you should consider a lot of the gear list that I already told you about in this video. And you don't have to get the same list as me, you know, and I'm just a Micro Four Thirds fanatic. I just have everything with me. And but to me, you know, like I'm fortunate enough to have the choices, because I also have the f2.8 version of all of these lenses that I told you about. I also have the 1.2 Pro Primes, but I don't need those for this particular trip because they are heavier, they are more bigger and heavier, and the 1.4, the f4 are perfectly fine for me, especially from the quality that I can get from it. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. In fact, I'm very happy about it. So this is today's vlog, and I hope you enjoy what you're seeing so far. I'm going to continue exploring Hong Kong and take some more shots. So you know what to do now. Thumb if you like this video, and sub if you want to stay in touch with all things photography, filmmaking, and of course, Micro Four Thirds. Peace.